In the twilight of Prophet Suleiman's great kingdom, a dark rumor took root. Despite his wisdom and gifts from God, knowledge of winds, jinn, and the natural world, whispers spread that his power came from sorcery. In truth, Suleiman sealed away every spell book he found, swearing no man would claim jinn held hidden secrets. After he died and the wise who knew the truth passed on, Satan disguised himself among some Israelites. He lured them with the promise of treasure under Suleiman's throne. Greed overcame them. They dug beneath the marble throne and found chained scrolls of sorcery. Satan grinned and cried, "Suleiman has conquered men, jinn, and birds by this magic." From that moment, false tales swarmed the city. The masses began to call the prophet a magician. But heaven would not let deceit stand. The Quran clarifies, Solomon did not disbelieve, but the devils disbelieved, teaching men magic. Divine revelation absolved Suleiman of all charge. He was not a sorcerer, but a faithful servant of God. In fact, it was the devils who had invented those lies, compiling magical manuals and hiding them beneath his throne. When people dug them up, thinking Suleiman's glory sprang from spells, Allah corrected them. Suleiman's kingdom was by God's favor alone. This truth freed Suleiman's legacy from slander, but the stain of sorcery had already seeped into Babylon's memory. In the city by the Euphrates, where brick towers and temples rose to the sky, hearts had grown curious and lustful. Magic was no longer hidden. It was being written, taught, and craved. The hidden books of Suleiman were now in eager hands, and dark knowledge was spreading. In this charged atmosphere, God prepared the next part of the tale. He would send a trial. So, two angels, Harut and Marut, descended into the midst of Babylon as mortals. They were not emissaries of evil, but of divine testing. Clothed as handsome teachers, they offered mankind the secret arts of magic. Yet every time they opened their lips, they first warned, "We are only a trial, so do not disbelieve." These words echoed through candlelit halls. The angels taught the spell to sever love's bond or poison trust, but reminded each listener that no harm comes without God's permission. In shadowy schoolrooms under Babylon's moons, they demonstrated how one might sow discord between husband and wife, yet always cautioned that these were temptations, not miracles. Some in the crowd turned away when they heard the angel's warning. Faith had not yet withered in their souls. But others, hungry for power and blinded by desire, pressed on. They whispered to one another secret incantations, fingers trembling as they toyed with forces beyond their measure. Spells were learned and tested, marriages strained as hearts were twisted by jealousy. Brothers quarreled over whispered curses. Fear gripped the city when knowledge once hidden was now misused. Throughout it all, Harut and Marut remained impassive witnesses. They had asked to be tested too. They had pleaded to God, "Let us live as mortals, and we will never sin." And so they walked in human flesh amid the trial they administered. But the night's temptations proved heavy. Even these pure angels found the pull of flesh and desire greater than they expected. Legends say they too faltered. Bewitched by Babylon's beauty, they chose earthly punishment rather than the fires of hell. In the end, the two stood at the crossroads of obedience and transgression. When asked, one said, "Better to endure this temporal punishment than eternal torment." And so it was decreed. Harut and Marut would remain suspended, a living lesson for all time, wings folded and heads hanging down. a warning in the stars above Babylon, reminding men that even the brightest angels can fall if tested without humility. The saga of Harut and Marut leaves us with an uneasy awe. It reminds us that knowledge itself is not sin. It is the use of it and the state of the heart that matter. Prophet Suleiman's true gift was a heart upright, and when that heart passed from this world, men still carried on as if his wisdom sprang from occult arts. God sent angels to test humanity, not to curse it. Harut and Marut declared plainly they were trials, not teachers of salvation. Each soul in Babylon had to choose, pursue the forbidden flame, or uphold the light of faith. For us listening now, their story is a cautionary echo through time. It urges humility before power, trust in God's plan over illusions of control. It tells us that even an angel's words or a king's wisdom cannot override God's wisdom. Let us remember that every gift of insight comes with the responsibility not to let pride cloud our purpose. The people of Babylon learned magic, but they lost their way. May we choose the opposite, seeking knowledge as a path to truth, and using every power, even that of storytelling, to draw hearts closer to light, not into shadows.